Okay, hi everyone. Today we are going to see academic task one introduction uh, in our writing session for academic students. We do have two types of tasks. That's academic task one and academic task two. So we are going with academic task one today. So this is about 20 minutes and task two is about 40 minutes. And we need to write about 150 words here. For task two, the word count is almost 250 words. So we categorize the time so we can say 20 minutes for task one and 40 minutes for task two. So in total, 60 minutes you'll be getting. Okay. So if you are consuming 25 minutes for task one, you will be getting only 35 minutes for task two. And that's the thing. So you won't be getting more than 60 minutes. That's 1 hour for the writing completion. One thing you have to remember is that 33% of your writing score will be from academic task one, and the rest 67% will be from task two. So if you get an average score in academic task one, you'll be having a better score, better overall score. So out of your 100 percentage, 33 percentage is from academic task one. So if you are not completing this task, you won't be getting a better score, an acceptable score in your writing session. So this is what the problem is. So please uh, do complete the task, both task one and task two within the time limit. So it is ideal to finish task one within 20 minutes and save time for the task two. So that has a major impact in your score. This is what I just need to see in the beginning. Now let's see what is academic task one actually. Academic task one is nothing but a conversion of a picture to words. What exactly is academic task one? It's a conversion of a bar graph or a line graph or a table or a pie chart or a map or a flow chart or a process diagram to words of not less than 150 words within 20 minutes. It's ideal to complete this. You have to use formal language here. So we have different types of languages in different types of pictures. Before that, let's see what are the major types of academic task one. Academic task one, the types. So types of academic task one, number one, task with comparison of figures or task which includes the numbers. In the sense, if you have a table, you'll be having statistical data of numbers, 1, 2, 40, 50, all these numbers will be there. See, these numbers are to be compared. So this is the type 1. So these we call it as classical task 1. We have line graph, bar graph, table, and pie chart under this category. And we have to go with type 2. That's task with no comparison of figures. That's numbers. We don't have comparisons. That we have maps, pictograms, life cycle, process diagram, where we don't have numbers like 25, 26, 27, like that. So here, the line graph, no, it's not line graph, it's diagram, flow chart, maps, life cycle, or pictogram, something. And now we have the type number three, it's combination graphs. What mean by combination graphs? You get a table and a line graph, get a table and a pie chart. You get two pie charts, you get three pie charts, you get three table, you get one line graph and a life cycle, or one bar graph and a life cycle. So you get life cycle or a flow chart. So you have combinations of two or three charts. So that's what we call it as a combination charts. So this is the basic information I have to give you regarding the task one. Now I have to say what are the components of this task one here. We do have to have an introduction, a body paragraph, one or two or three, and overview in our academic task one. So there is a difference between the introduction of a task one and a task two. A task two introduction, you have two components there in a task two introduction, that is addressing the topic and what you are going to say in the essay. But in a task one academic, you have to say what is the picture and what it is about. So this is the difference between academic task one and academic task two. So in a task two, you're going to say what exactly the topic is, address it in one or two sentences, and what you're going to say in the essay. Sometimes your opinion, sometimes the hint of what you are going to say there. So here, what is the picture and what is it about? This is stated already in the question. So I don't recommend to copy the question as it is. You're not supposed to do though. So you have to understand the picture, the introduction, and present it in your own formal way. It should be concise, it should be formal, and it should address all parts of the question. We have to make the introduction brief, we need to make it concise or formal, and we should address all parts of the question. So these are the three things we have to do there. And when we go with the dons here in the introduction, you should not give background information. So what you mean by background information? Background information, suppose if you are getting a picture or a table which includes the data of people visiting to Tokyo per year. So you are not supposed to say about Tokyo. Tokyo is a city in Japan. Each year we have a number of visitors there for different purposes. These types of background information is not at all recommended in our task one, academic. So if you want to give background information, you can give. This type of informations are recommended in task two. Okay, it's not in task one. And now we have in the introduction, you should not include any figures other than years. It's 1990. You can write, no issues. Other than that, you are not recommended to include any figures. And the third don, you should not give explanations. You should not give explanation. This is going high, this is going low, this was more, this is less. All these things you are not supposed to go with, because we are going to explain the graph or the table or the picture, whatever it is, in the body paragraphs. We are not going to say it in the introduction. In the introduction, we have only two things: what's the picture and what is it about. And towards the last, I have to show something. Do not copy the question as it is. You have the question as the introduction there. You please don't copy the question as it is. Now let's move ahead. Now see what we have to write in the body paragraph of an academic task 1. We have to give all the explanation, including figures, the comparisons. All these things should be given in this area. All the explanation should be given here. You should include figures and comparisons, whatever it is. If you have figures, you have to include it there. If you have expansion, you have to give here. If you have comparison, you have to give here. And if you have a comparison graph, you have to present the trend or the status first, and then you should include the figures. Don't see figures as the main thing in the explanation part. So first you have to say the matter. Is it increasing? Yes, it is increasing. Okay, then you have to say it was from 10 to 40. So in order to say that, please don't say it increased from 10 to 40 directly. First you have to say it increased, then you have to say it increased from 10 to 40. Okay, so this is what the thing is meant. And group the paragraph based on the trends or pattern. So based on the trends, so you have increasing trend, you do have decreasing trend, you do have a static trend, you do have other types of patterns there. So patterns, paragraph should be based on the trends. So increasing things should be combined in one particular paragraph. If you have decreasing, then you combine it in another paragraph. And you have a fluctuating pattern, you go with another paragraph. If it is a constant pattern, so we need to separate the trends. So all these things should not be mixed together. So we have to, based on the trends, you have to group the paragraph, small paragraph for an attractive presentation. And we have the overview here. It should be brief, formal, and should summarize the body paragraph. And you have to try to frame it in a single sentence. So the overview can be written immediately after the introduction. So introduction, immediately you can write overall or overview, and then you can have the body paragraphs. So this is one format. Another format is that you can write introduction, then you can go with the body, then you can go with the overall. You can go with this pattern too. So you can go with introduction, body, and overall, one pattern, or introduction, overall, and body paragraphs. You can go with the second style too. So whatever it is, these three are the components of academic task 1. We should have a clear cut introduction which addresses the picture. We should have a clear cut overall which gives you the trend, the actual figures are, and we should have the body paragraph explained there. Okay, so that's it. And we are moving ahead with the types of the task 1. So of the classical task 1, we do have the first is the line graph. The most common academic task 1 is line graph, which has a lot of graphical languages. So we do have to understand what exactly is graphical language to solve this particular task 1. So we have this type first. I'll explain, I'll come back to it. Next is a bar graph. Here, the language we use in the graphs and the language we use in the bar graph is slightly different. And we do have the third type, that is the pie charts. So in the pie charts, we have a different style of presentation. And we have table here. In the table, we have a different style of presentation. And we have maps here. Yes, we have, because we don't have figures here, we do have extremely different type of presentation here. We do have flow charts. We have to go with sequential words here. We do have multiple charts. So pie chart and bar graph. We do have multiple charts like pictograms together. And we do have diagrams too, process diagrams too. So these are the common types of academic task 1. So first, we be moving ahead with each type. Number 1 is the line graph. So line graph, in line graph, we are going to see, first we get a line graph. You just see everywhere what exactly it is. We have a title here, consumption of fast food by Australian teenagers. We do have some components here, pizza, fish and chips and hamburgers. And we have the x-axis and y-axis here, the horizontal and vertical axis. So the vertical axis says number of times eaten per year. So this is 100 times per year. And this is 20 times per year. Now here it is year 1975 to 2000. We do have a movement chart here. So in graphs or bar chart, or we have pie chart, or when we have the, what do you say, table, we do have to look at two types of task. One is static, whether it is static chart or movement chart. So what exactly is static chart and what exactly is movement chart? Static chart, we don't have the movements there. Okay. Yes, I told whether it's static or movement chart. So here we do have the data from 1975 to 2000. So we can definitely say that it's a movement chart. Then what is static chart? We need to understand what is a static chart too. So when we don't have comparison between the years, that we call it static chart. So here I do have an example of a static chart here. We do have a bar chart and we do have some thing here. So we don't have years to compare. So it is present tense, transport preferences among young people from different countries. Here in this particular picture, the picture is static because we don't have a comparison between the time frames. The time frame comparison is not there. If the time frame comparison is not there, then it is static data or static graph. So here it is movement. Now in the third thing, here it is static because we don't have a time comparison there. Here it is movement because there is a time comparison there. 2000, 2005, 2009. So we do have time comparisons there. So we have advancing years here. Here also we have advancing years. So this is a movement chart. Okay, so we have understood what is a static chart and what is a movement chart. So what is the basic difference between a static chart and movement chart? So when in a static chart and movement chart, the basic difference is the language which you use. Here we can say it is increasing, the trend is increasing. So I can use increase plus dramatically. So increase press dramatically I can use here. I can say it is increasing. I can say it is dramatically increasing here. Okay. So I can say it is increasing. A change verb is here. The change verb is increasing. And how the change occurs, and that's also mentioned here. So the change occurred, that's mentioned as increase, and how the change occurs, that's mentioned in the by the word dramatically. So this is actually uh, the the language of what we call in a movement chart. Now let's see what happens in the static charts. In static charts, we cannot say it is increasing or decreasing. You can not say there is an increase. Where is an increase? Is this increasing? No, it's not increasing. So it is the car usage specific data in Great Britain, USA, Germany, and France. So this is not increasing at all, and this is not decreasing at all. So I cannot use this change word here. So in the bar graph above, in the line graph above, I have used the change word increase, and I have said how it is changing. So this is what I have said here, said there. So it was increasing, and then I have said how it is increasing. Is it clear? Now I have to move on to the next particular. So to make it confirm, I can say one more example. So here it was increasing, it was decreasing. Now we can see the trend is decreasing here. The trend is decreasing here. The trend is decreasing here. And now the trend is increasing here. So you can say three decrease and one increase there. So I can say definitely a change is there. I can also say that it is increasing. It has increased dramatically. It has increased tremendously. It has increased minimally. So I can use that, but I cannot use that in this particular chart, in a pie chart, because it is just comparison. What is there or what was there, and what is here or what was there. So that's the thing. What the status comparisons are there in static data. These two are static charts. We do have the comparison of the status. The other two charts, what we are going with, it's a comparison of the time frame. Okay, so I have explained uh, briefly, I have given a brief outline of the pictures, academic task one, the brief introduction, uh, and I have given you a brief orientation regarding the different types of task one. Okay, the classical and non-classical. And in the next volume, we'll be going with these types, the maps, flowchart, and the combination, and we can go ahead with the process diagram in individual. So I think we have got a brief idea regarding the outline of these classical charts, that is line graph, bar graph, pie chart, and table. Okay, so